questions. This question of whether China can keep growing and whether the party can stay in power is occupying everybody. I'm a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, and this just came out, the latest edition of Foreign Affairs. The cover is, "Can China keep rising?" So everybody's asking. That. You have that too. So everybody's asking the same questions. A lot of questions in there. Let me pick apart the membership of the party first of all. It's 92 million members, according to a survey recently by Zhongnan University, I believe. They said of the 2.1 million new members that came in 2015. Only something like 5,700 were migrant workers, and the vast majority were actually urban white-collar people from Shanghai, where you are, Beijing, etc. So my question is, does this party have any relation to the Marxist-Leninist party that was founded in 1921 that was supposed to be workers and peasants? I mean, what's Marxist-Leninist about it now?
Well, good question. Obviously, it's still a Marxist party. Its ideology is both Chinese tradition and Marxism. What's called the sinification of Marxism. Now, I'll give you another number. Of the new members of the Chinese in 2019, okay, nearly 2 million new people joined the party. 80% of them are people under age of 35. Okay, so it's a very, very young trend. And those young people, of course, if you know, in China, and most of them are college students. Now, last year, 80% of all college students in China expressed a strong interest in joining the party. Okay, so if you know Chinese society, we have the college entrance exam, Gaokao, okay, which is, one line equal to everybody. And if you visit Chinese college campuses, you'll know these kids come from all backgrounds. Unlike universities and colleges you find in many Western countries. They come from wealthy families, mostly from certain races. Mostly, I think. I mean, of course, they have affirmative action in America, but we all know. But in China, college students, those who enter college from vast different backgrounds, from poor, rich, urban, rural, all sorts of places. And 80% of them want to join the party. So I think the party still is very much with the vast majority of the Chinese people.
Well, let me continue on that, because this Zhongnan University and a couple of others, Zhongnan I'm looking at specifically, they surveyed 1,800 new party members and asked them why they joined the party, and the vast majority said career advancement. So they weren't joining it because they believed in the ideals. They were joining it because they wanted to get a better job. And, they thought when you're applying for a job, it's better to be a party member. Is that really meaning that they're believing in the ideals of the party, or they're just doing it to advance their careers?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. And I hope that the two coincide. I hope those who believe in making China a better society also find better jobs.
But when you think about it, the party, 92 million members, that's only 6% of the population of China, which is about 1.3 to 1.4 billion. Can 6% of the population really represent, the entire population of China?
It is bigger than what I call the Holy Trinity that runs America. The Holy Trinity, America is also in some way a one-party state, and it's run by a party called the Holy Trinity. I call it Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and Hollywood. Mm-hmm. These three groups of people, including the nannies that they employ, no more than 1 million people. They make all the decisions in America. That's why you have all these dissatisfaction in the country.
So are you one of those who believes that the East is rising and the West is in decline?
Well, I wouldn't put it in those terms. I mean, I'm one that I hope liberal societies could rejuvenate themselves. Liberalism needs some self-criticism. Liberals in liberal societies should learn from the party state in China. The party state in China is being very good at self-criticism. That's why they reinvent themselves. Mm-hmm. You only reinvent yourself when you see problems. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, why would you reinvent yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So liberal societies have been failing at that for the past decades, because they take their system for granted. They think there's some kind of moral imperative that somehow they take their system as a given, that it works. Mm-hmm. It's the best thing you've got. So of course you don't need self-criticism. You don't need to reinvent yourself. I hope for a world where we have a degree of pluralism, a degree of plurality, different kind of systems and ideologies could coexist and compete. So I wish liberalism well.
Well, let me ask a question that might be slightly provocative. Don't mean it to be, but I mean it, and I mean it with all seriousness. I mean, most people would say that the vast majority of Chinese support what the Communist Party has done and what the Communist Party is doing. Why don't they have an election? Like in Singapore, where the ruling party has been in power, they have elections to legitimize their rule every once in a while, and they continue to stay in power. But that kind of rejuvenates and allows them to claim legitimacy from the people.
Well, we have a system of selecting capable people from the population and move them up to lead the country. And they've proven to be great leaders and effective leaders. They have delivered. Countries, I mean, Singapore is a small place. I don't want to use it as an example. Okay. Countries, especially big liberal societies, at least in the past few decades with your elections, have not been able to produce leaders that are capable and effective and can deliver. So the best way for you to convince the Chinese to have elections to make yours work.
Well, let me ask you the question then. Without elections, where does the Communist Party in China get its legitimacy? They were originally a revolutionary party. They won the war.
They get their legitimacy, like I said, based on outcome. Okay. Procedural legitimacy, I think, is what is getting liberal societies in trouble. It's what getting liberal politics in trouble. As long as you follow procedure, even if you elect people that are completely incompetent, even if you elect people that are selfish, that are corrupt, that don't deliver, you're still legitimate. We don't want that. We want leaders who get their legitimacy by delivering. If you can deliver the goods, you are legitimate.
So it's performance-based legitimacy, correct?
Whatever you want to call it. I think democracy needs a set of new measurements. I think democracy needs to be measured by outcome, not by procedure.
But what happens in China if the economy suddenly collapses? You've got a demographic challenge looming ahead. You know, you could always have some economic problem with debt, et cetera. If the party is tying its fate to making people richer, how long can that go on? Again, the question,
I'm not sure
can China keep rising?
I'm not sure the party is tying itself by making people richer. I don't think it's the right term to put it. The party right now, like I said, in this current phase of reinvention, is tying itself with a future of China that's more equitable and productive, not making just a few rich. They want to lift everybody. Okay, they are tying their legitimacy with that mission. And I think most of Chinese people agree with that mission. And they need to succeed. If they fail, they'll lose legitimacy. Okay. If they succeed, they'll keep that legitimacy for a very, very long time.
Okay, so there's no need for any kind of election, no need for even a referendum on whether you support the party.
If they deliver, they will have legitimacy. Okay,
Sure.
We don't want a system where you hold a vote and you don't deliver and you're still legitimate. That's bad.